Why, hello there. Welcome to this video. Lately, due to current events, I have felt compelled or motivated to get the legal name change process done, as well as update my sex ID or gender marker on all of my government documents. This has been quite a process, and as some of you may be aware, I live in a red state, and living in a red state during this time period as a transgender individual is quite an experience. It's often an experience that makes you feel nervous, one that makes you feel like the system is going to try to work against you and potentially stop you from doing the things that you want to do. But after kind of getting through basically the whole process, and I'm going to talk about it here in this video, I have been left with a really strange feeling, and I think that maybe some other people might relate to this, and it's just really interesting. If you live in a red state and you go through this whole process, there's sort of this feeling that you get almost like a little bit of a power trip. It's almost like really, really satisfying to have a bunch of people in a red state help you, a bunch of public services help you with your transition. Certainly it's a satisfying experience no matter what, getting your legal name change and all that other stuff updated. That's definitely a big part of a transition for most people. And it's kind of like a momentous thing. It's something that people look forward to, they get nervous about, they spend a lot of time thinking about it, and then finally getting there and crossing that line is incredible. But doing that in a red state, it's just it just hits a little bit harder. It just feels like you have overcome more obstacles, and it's in that way more satisfying. If you're new here, hello, my name is Leah. I have been making transition content lately, talking about my transition, talking about tips and all that other stuff, but I've also been making current event content, talking about news and politics. And as the next Trump administration starts again, I'll probably move more towards current events and that kind of content once again. But you can also expect content about my transition or just transitions related videos in general from my channel moving forward, just kind of no matter what. So I hope everyone is having a good holiday season. I know this can be a rough time of year for many of us in our community, and it's often important during these time periods to try to pull together your chosen family or whoever is in your life, whoever you love and care about, try to get them close and spend some time with them and try to just build good memories. And even if maybe you have some negative memories of the past, or maybe this is not such a nice time period because you feel ostracized, you got to find the people who accept you and hold them close. You got to really, really hold on to the support networks. So I hope many of you have had a good holiday season, despite sometimes the sort of depressing vibes that can be around this time of year. I know that I have seasonal depression, and usually this time of year, I am kind of super dysfunctional and a mess. This year has been a little bit better than previous years, to be totally honest with you. Probably a lot to do with being this far in my transition and my mental health improving and dysphoria being reduced and all that other stuff. I'm just in better spirits in general nowadays. But yeah, you know what I mean? It's just this time of year can be pretty hit or miss for people. Some people love it. Some people, it's really, really depressing. I know that my content had slowed down a little bit since I was making almost 2 videos, 3 videos a week. And now I'm doing 1 video a week. And I promise you, I will stay in the swing of things and I'll try to put out content as frequently as I can. I have just been extremely stressed and busy. And as we're going to talk about today, I have been tackling this challenge of getting all my legal stuff updated. Obviously, with the upcoming administration, we don't really know what's going to happen, and we don't know what kind of crackdowns we're going to see on our rights. And so I think that it's better to get going, to get that stuff done as soon as possible. I wasn't even going to start till next year on all of my legal updating and all that other stuff, and I am already almost done with it. So this whole process started basically because, obviously the election happened, and I was like, oh gosh, I gotta kind of get a move on all this stuff, especially with the passport. And then I had the whole thought process of I could get my passport immediately, but I haven't done my legal name change, all this other stuff. This was back, in November. And it was I haven't done that stuff yet. So if I get the passport now, it's going to have my dead name. It's going to, it's going to have all that improper information on it. And I don't really want that to be the case. I want to have an ID with, the correct legal name, all that other stuff. And so I was I got to get a move on. I got to get this stuff done. Now, what's actually kind of crazy about it is that if you look up this process online, so I live in Ohio, and if you look it up online, it says that to do your legal name change, you have to set up a court appointment, you have to file documents, you have to set up a court date, you have to publish in a newspaper, you have to have that published, that published article in a newspaper or published whatever for 30 days. And then you have a court date, you plead your case. the judge signs off of it, and then that's your legal name change. So that's what I had seen online, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to take forever. I'm really scared I'm not going to get this done before the next administration starts. I'm just worried that this is going to be an incredibly difficult and arduous process. And looking up online, I wasn't able to get like a lot of detailed information. So basically I decided like I'm just going to show up to the probate court and just ask them about it and bring all the stuff that I think I might need, and then just try to get the process done, just try to get it started. To my absolute surprise, I showed up to the probate court and basically they were like, yeah, that none of that is really a part of the process anymore. They have changed it so that it's easier to get the process done. Essentially, all you have to do is pay some money, fill out some paperwork, and then like they send the information to the judge reviews it and then signs off on it. So you don't have to have a court date, you don't have to publish in a newspaper. All of that stuff is outdated information. And I'll be honest with you, that is like 80% of the reason it took me as long as it did to get to do this process, because looking it up online, it seemed like such a scary and arduous process. And then getting there and actually finding out that it's like, oh, you can get this done basically today, and then like in a week it'll be done. And it's like, oh, okay, that's incredible. That's super awesome. So I was pretty elated about that. The part that kind of sucked about it is that like every single step of the way, this has been a deeply awkward experience, because when you're going through this process of getting everything legally updated, getting everything changed, you have to show like your old documentation. You have to show, like, I had my old driver's license with a really old picture that definitely doesn't look like me anymore. And it's just like, it's really awkward to have to like present your dead name and all that other stuff to people. So I did, and we went through the whole process. And unfortunately, because my legal name hadn't been updated yet, the people at the office decided to dead name me like the entire time. Now, this definitely could have been bigotry, but I chose to believe that it was just because my legal name was still my dead name. And so they were just calling me by my dead name because it was still my legal name and it had not yet been updated. That being said, they never directly asked me, you know, if I would prefer to have my chosen name used during the experience. But honestly, I just decided to take it in stride and like try to get through the whole process without causing any issues or like saying anything about it, because it felt like this is one of the last few experiences I'm going to have where people have access to my dead name. And I just want to get through the process. Like, I just want to get through this so that this can be a thing of the past. And also they were helping me. Like, they weren't stopping me from doing this stuff or changing my legal name or doing anything. And they were nice to me as well. It's just that like they either didn't understand or they were, you know, just doing whatever. Don't get me wrong, it was extremely awkward and it was just like a deeply uncomfortable experience for me, but I just felt like it is what it is. I live in a red state, and like I don't think that every single person I interact with is going to be like the most gracious person ever. As long as they help me get through the process and do what they're supposed to do, it's whatever. Like, they can't really hurt me by just dead naming me a few times when I'm there to do something incredibly important for my transition. Like, that's what matters to me. So as I was leaving the probate court that day after submitting all the paperwork and paying for it, I just had like an overwhelming sense of emotion where it's like I'm finally getting started on this process and I'm going to get it done and it's going to happen. And like, it's not going to be the most insanely difficult process ever. It's actually going to be something achievable that I can just do, you know? And that's also when I started having the feeling of like, holy crap, I'm in a red state and like I'm doing all of this stuff and people are just going to help me do it. Like, they're just going to help me get through it, even if they can tell like why I'm there, even if they maybe disagree with what I'm doing. They kind of don't have a choice because it's like their job, right? I also had a moment where I really thought about the fact that like in a lot of ways I was doing all of this stuff because of Donald Trump. Like, if he hadn't won the election, I probably would have delayed getting all this stuff done a lot longer than this. And to be honest, it's kind of like thanks to Donald Trump that I got everything done and going through this process, because like I have no idea what he's going to do in his crazy next administration. So like I might as well just get everything done as close as I can to like completely finished before he even gets in office. That way like he can't really stop me. And so don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm grateful towards him or that I think that he actually helped me or anything like that. I still think he's a terrible human being and his next administration is going to be complete and utter chaos. But it's just kind of funny how like he motivated me to move forward with my transition due to like him winning the election. It's probably the opposite of what people think is going to happen. I've been hearing from a lot of people in my Discord that they've been going through this process as well, and that there have been other people who have had the same thought process of like, holy crap, I need to get this stuff done ASAP because we don't know what the future is going to be like. And right now we have the possibility, we have the option. In the future, who knows what's going to happen? So like, I know I'm not the only one who has had this thought process. So after getting that done, basically all I had to do was wait for the judge to sign off on it, which I did. And then I received the court orders in the mail. And those are like the golden tickets of your legal transition, which is super funny. Like you just take these court orders to everywhere and you're like, update my stuff, do it. Do it because the court said you have to. And again, living in a red state, this is kind of like a power trip. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's really satisfying to go into places. Like I went into the Social Security office, like pretty much as soon as I got the documentation, like a few days later, I showed up in the Social Security office. Again, by the way, I went online and looked at the information about all this stuff, and it gave me a form that I needed to fill out and take in, but it kept telling me I needed to call and set up an appointment. And every time I tried to call the Social Security office, it was like a 2-hour wait on the phone. So I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna go in. I go in, and within 5 minutes, someone is like helping me at a window. And then like 10 minutes later, I'm out the door. And it's like, why does it seem like this whole process is going to be super difficult? And then I find out that it's not, like when I show up, you know? Like what's kind of weird about the whole process is that it feels like there's almost a sort of like libertarian bent to like my state's policies, where it's like, hey, just kind of do whatever you feel like doing. And yeah, like we're going to try to make this as easy as a process as possible. Like there's not a lot of bureaucratic crap that I have to go through. There is a little bit, which I'll kind of get into here in a minute. But overall, I've been incredibly surprised at how easy it is to go through this process and how few roadblocks I ran into doing everything. Like when I was in the Social Security office, handed him the legal name change stuff, and I was like, by the way, can you update my sex ID? And the guy just did it, like no questions asked. And also I wanted to mention that like not a single person during this entire experience like said anything overt to me. Like no one like was like rude to me or misgendered me or said anything like really out of hand or out of pocket, because honestly, I feel like they'd be concerned about getting sued or just having drama in general. Like I think a lot of these people, even if they do have bigoted beliefs, which I don't know because you just don't know, it doesn't really matter because they're not going to do anything. Like they're not going to act on it in most cases. Now, maybe in certain other areas or certain other states that are more red or deep red or whatever, maybe there is more of this kind of resistance or open bigotry that you would run into. But as far as I've experienced in my decently red state, I haven't had any of that. And I live in like Trump County. Like I live in a county that went to Trump, you know? So after getting the Social Security stuff updated, there's essentially just one more thing that I had to go do, which I did today, and that was going to the DMV. I went to the DMV and I got the new ID issued, got a new picture taken, legal name updated, all that stuff, and that's wonderful. The only issue that I had during that entire experience was, one, it was kind of awkward because it's really awkward to show people your ID when it's like, really old and pre-transition and dead name and everything, like super awkward, right? But also like they handed me the forms to fill out and I marked, F for my gender ID. And then when they popped it up on the screen, it said M. And I was like, hey there, can I pretty please update this pretty please? And essentially the lady was actually really nice about it, but she said, no, we can't do that because you have to essentially fill out a form and mail it to like a different city. Like there's some office in the capital of Ohio, which is Columbus, and you have to like mail it there and they have to like process it and you have to have it signed by a physician and everything. And it's actually like probably the most annoying bureaucratic part of like the whole process I've gone through so far. So I was a little frustrated by that because that means that I'm going to get my ID and I'm going to have to fill out this paperwork and figure it out and send it in and get it approved or whatever and get it sent back. And then I have to take that approved paperwork, I guess, back to the DMV and get another ID. Like I'm gonna have to pay for another ID. I'm gonna have to get, go through the whole process again, essentially just to update that one small thing. Now this kind of sucks, but it's honestly whatever. Like it's not gonna really hinder me in the long term at all. I'm still gonna get it done. It just means that it's gonna take me a little longer to get to the finish line. Now that I have my legal name change done and I've gone into the Social Security office and updated my sex ID, all that great stuff. Basically, I'm going to go ahead and get my passport done. Also, I have to look into getting my birth certificate amended and having all that information updated as well. But as far as I know, I just have to like basically mail in the court order to an office for that, and that's like done automatically after that, so that's not really that hard of a process. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that like going into the new year, I'm going to have basically everything done, and all I'm gonna have to do is apply for a new passport and yeah, like get this, you know, driver's license stuff all settled. So like the whole moral of the story, the reason I wanted to make this video is because like I wanted to kind of encourage people. You know, maybe you live in a state or in a county that feels really Trump oriented, or a red state in general, and you just feel nervous or scared, or like the system is going to fight you every step of the way, or people are going to be really mean and hurtful towards you and all that stuff. Chances are it's just going to be another day. Like it's going to be a little bit awkward. It's going to be a little bit stressful. Maybe you get some weird looks. Maybe they dead name you. Maybe they even misgender you a little bit. But like, you are going to get through the process, and they're going to help you because it is their job. And like, these people are not going to like put their neck on the line and like fight you tooth and nail over like something that could just be like something that they just process really quick and then you're out of their face. Like, I think a lot of people, if they do have bigoted feelings or beliefs, they would rather just get it all done with and get you out of their face than like have to like start a confrontation with you. So like, don't be discouraged and go for it. Like, try to get this stuff done, especially because we still have time before the orange man takes office. Like, this is a critical period for people who want to get this kind of stuff updated and done. And beyond that, even after the dude gets inaugurated, like, let's keep in mind that like, he's not going to be able to stop things entirely. Like, he's not going to be able to ban transgender people from like transitioning or ban us from public life. Like, it's just not going to happen, as hard as he might try or as much as he might say he wants to. I think likely we will see more crackdowns on things like sports, and we will see more crackdowns on minors getting access to gender affirming care, which is of course a tragedy, like especially the part about minors getting access to care that they need, because, you know, we exist as youth as well. Like, I was a trans kid and I didn't have access to even enough information to know that there was care for minors. I didn't even know who I was. Like, I was so starved of information and resources. So, you know, it's really a tragedy that there are going to be more people who grow up in ignorance, or more people who grow up unable to access the care that they need until they're adults. And that's really disturbing, and that really, really sucks. But they can't wipe us out of existence. Like, I know that there's a lot of people like Matt Walsh who say things like they want to eradicate transgenderism from public life or whatever, which is so ridiculously stupid. But like, that's like a wet dream. Like, that's not something that they're going to be able to do. That's like saying that they want to return to segregation. Like, there are people who may think that that's like what they want or something, but like, that's just a pipe dream. Like, we are beyond that. And I've heard a lot of people talking about this, and a lot of people who are afraid that things are going to get like worse than they've ever been before. And I'm a little bit hopeful that although things are going to get worse, I don't think we're going to hit like new lows. Like, I don't think we're going to go back to like pre-Stonewall era where it's like literally illegal to be trans in public. Like, I don't think that that's where we're headed, and I don't think that that's going to happen, because the consequences would be monumental. And like, I just don't think that the mechanisms for crawling back progress that much exist. Now, could I be wrong? Yeah, I could certainly be wrong. He could pull some crazy nonsense, crack down in the most authoritarian way, and try to erase our rights from existence. But I just have a feeling. And also, like, you got to keep in mind that I feel like maybe 80% of the point of all of this rhetoric, of all of the culture war stuff, 80% of the point is to try to push people back in the closet. Like, the majority of the point that they are trying to make is that they want us to give up, and they want us to feel like there's no hope or there's no chance. Living in a red state, this is really obvious to me, because it's like they have to help me do my legal transition and everything, but they really don't want me to be going through that process. Can they stop me? No, but they can try to scare me into not pursuing it. They can try to scare me into thinking that it's not an option for me, or that, you know, it's going to be too difficult or something like that. But when there's a will, there's a way. I don't exactly remember who the content creator was, but I was scrolling through either Instagram or TikTok or something, and I saw a video of a beautiful lady, and she was talking about how she got like all of her like her new driver's license in Florida with her updated gender ID marker and everything. And it was really smart. Like she essentially used her passport because she like quote unquote lost her driver's license and she needed a replacement. And they had to use whatever documentation she had available to fill out the driver's license, and she had a passport which had her updated ID and name. So with a clever loophole, she was able to get her ID updated even in an extremely combative state like Florida. So yeah, that's going to be today's video. That's what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to talk about going through this process and how it's made me feel. It's been kind of a weird storm of emotions, you know, all the awkwardness and all the stress and anxiety of leading up to these moments and then finding out that they're usually just basically you go in and you talk to someone and they type on the computer for a few minutes and then you're done. Like that's basically the entire thing. I am super thankful that the legal name change process was not like a 2-month court hearing plus publication process. Like having that be basically just something I could get done in almost one day, plus waiting on the judge to sign it. Like that was a game changer because honestly, I'd probably still be at that point if I had to do all that extra stuff. So as I'm recording this video, it is the 30th of December, so it is nearing the end of the year, and I'm gonna try to have this video up in the next day or two, so maybe Patreon members will get to see it a little bit early, but everyone else will see it either the next day or the day after, depending on when I have time to edit this. And for real, I gotta be honest, I'm ending this year with a lot of positivity, a lot of motivation, and a lot of gratitude, to be totally honest with all of you. A lot of positive emotions that I did not expect to be feeling at the end of this year, especially after the election. But I just have to be honest with you guys, I'm hopeful. Like I feel like progress has moved too far to be pushed back to the point where we would be like literally treated as subhuman and stuff like that. Like I just don't think that things are going to be able to be pushed back that far, and really what we are seeing are people who are incredibly loud, and that's it. Like I think that a lot of these bigots and a lot of these people who have bigoted beliefs, a lot of these people don't really have much else to do other than to scream on their platforms. Like you have people like JK Rowling, like really she's just screaming into a void. I feel like the more she does what she does, the more people she estrange. Like she's starting to just say things that people just do not believe, even if they're not necessarily allies. Like for instance, she attacked that one boxer who is like 100% a cis woman, like maybe had some like off-kilter hormones or something, or maybe is like chromosomally intersex or something like that. And she's attacking this boxer and calling her like a man. And it's like, you're literally like just wrong. Like you're actually just wrong. And anyone that looks into this for longer than 5 seconds is going to realize that you are just actually delusional. And honestly, I think that the more that time goes on, people are just going to fall farther and farther into their like bigoted rabbit holes and into their like weird conspiracy theories. And it's just going to estrange more and more people and help them realize that, like, you know, there's really nothing to be afraid of. And it's like the boogeyman is not real. Like transgender people are not some like crazy threat. So as I mentioned, I have a Patreon. I started that recently to try to start a funding mechanism for my channel. I may set up channel memberships and other stuff as well, but I get like less of a cut from it. So I'm more inclined to do like Patreon memberships and keep it there, because, you know, it's a little more fair for the content creator side of things in terms of like how much I get in return and how much they take. But yes, if you would like to join the Patreon, you get to see the videos early, you get to see them ad free, and you get to a little shout out at the end of the video where you see your name scrolling by. And if you are a super supporter, which is like the top tier Patreon supporter, I will give you a personal shout out at the end of my videos. I'm really thankful for the growth that I've experienced in the past couple months on my channel here, and I would like to keep that moving. I know that like not every video is going to blow up like my 5 harsh truths video, but I'm going to work on trying to become a better content creator as time goes on. I know that like one thing I can work on is probably being a little more clickbaity. Like I try to not be like super clickbaity. I'm not like a huge fan of that kind of thing. My natural inclination is to title my video like the most accurate title ever, but I realize that like it's important to try to grab people's attention. So you may see some more clickbaity titles from me coming here in the future. And I apologize if any of them seem misleading. I'm going to try really hard to try to be as honest as possible about my titles and not mislead people about the content of my video. But as you might have noticed, like the title of this video is going to be something like Donald Trump helped me with my transition, or like my red state helped me transition, or something like that. Like that's going to be the title of the video, because I think that, hey, that might actually get people to click. Also, I just wanted to shout out my Discord. We have a very friendly Discord community. If you go to the description of my video, there's a link tree. If you click that, it'll pop open and there'll be a Discord link, and you click that and you can go to there. Also, my Patreon information should be there as well. The Discord community is incredibly friendly, and if you are looking for a group of people to help support you through the next 4 years, people to talk to, people to brainstorm ideas with, or to just chat with, then that is the place to go. I promise you that there are plenty of kind and welcoming people there that are looking to build support networks or help you build a support network. Also, please make sure to like the video, do all the things that the algorithm gods want us to do. Comment down below, let me know, what's going on in your life. How was your holiday season? Are you motivated to get your legal stuff done? Has Trump motivated you to kind of maybe speed along certain aspects of your transition? What's going on with you? Tell me what's up. Also, if you haven't, please hit the subscribe button. I am trying to push towards 10,000 subscribers. We are almost there, and that is something I'm super grateful for. I am seriously so thankful to be at this point, and I cannot wait to keep growing my platform. And make sure to hit that bell icon so that you are notified of all my future uploads. I mentioned at the end of my last video, I think, but I'm probably going to start doing like one video a week and a stream, because I actually really enjoy live streaming, and I think engaging with an audience and chatting with people is like really fun. So that's something I'm probably going to try to work on. My schedule for work, like what I do outside of YouTube, is really chaotic. It's not a set schedule. So I'm trying to work out like how I'm going to make that work when I'm not exactly sure what day I will have available every week, but I'm going to figure it out. I may just have to talk to my job and make accommodations for that kind of thing. But that is something that I'm looking forward to doing. So if that's something you would like to see, let me know in the comments down below, like what you think about live streams from me. And that's going to be basically it from me. That's going to be the video. So I appreciate you for watching. I hope you all have a lovely new year, and I hope that you are all bracing yourself for the next 4 years. I'm going to do my best to be here and to stay fighting for everybody, and to stay fighting for our rights and, representation, visibility, all that great stuff. But yeah, just, brace yourself for the next 4 years. And so as you will see, there will be Patreon people scrolling down at the bottom here. If they are a paid member, they'll have like an asterisk next to their name. People can like follow you for free on Patreon. So for now, because the list is kind of small, I'm just including everybody because whatever. But thank you all so much for your support. I do really appreciate it. It'll help me, make content in the future and help improve my content moving forward. And now I want to go ahead and shout out the super supporters. We have Sam Howard. Thank you so much. And Sarah, who I shouted out last time as being a new super supporter. Thank you so much for your support. And then we have a new super supporter as well, Sarah Buck. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for your support, helping me grow this platform, make future content, grow the content for the future. I really appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you. It's kind of funny. All of my super supporters have names that start with an S. So I have 2 Sarahs and a Sam. So, thank you all. I really appreciate you for all your support. And last but not least, the last thing I want to do before I get out of here is just request a tiny little favor from all of you. And that little favor is for you to find some water and drink it.